I wish more vampire media would explore Vladimir Dracula's relationship with Mehmed II. Vladimir Dracula, aka Vlad III, aka Vlad Tepes, aka Vlad the Impaler, is almost certainly where Bram Stoker got the idea for Count Dracula. At least the name and the geography. As a result, Vlad the Impaler has a special place in the legendarium of vampire fiction. Dracula just means son of the dragon. Vlad's father would go by dragon as a reference to being a member of the Order of the Dragon. So Vlad would sometimes sign his name using variants of Dracula. I have read and watched a lot of Dracula vampire stuff that leans into the Impaler bit. I have read and watched a lot of vampire fiction that brings in the history of Romania and Transylvania and even references to Wallachia. Apologies to my Romanian audience for any mispronunciations. But I find the rivalry between Dracula and Mehmed II fascinating because they were both horrible people, but they were interesting people. And I don't mean horrible people in the sense of, oh, you have to take into account the cultural context of the historical setting. No, I mean they both did stuff where even people at the time were like, what the hell, dude? The only Dracula retelling I know of that mentions Mehmed II is Dracula Untold with Luke Evans. I really liked the movie overall. I didn't love the portrayal of Mehmed II. The film's portrayal was a little too cartoon villain for me. But the film did allude to the real-life Vlad Dracula's imprisonment. As a young boy, Vlad and his younger brother Radu were held hostage by the Ottomans to ensure their father's submission. Their father ended up rebelling against the Ottomans anyway, fully expecting them to mutilate and murder his sons in retaliation. For whatever reason, the Ottomans did not take it out on the boys as would have been expected in the historical setting, and the boys were eventually released. Radu decided the Ottomans weren't so bad and ended up converting to Islam. Vlad, on the other hand, developed a lifelong hatred for the Ottomans generally, and Mehmed specifically. That was something he became known for, being a hater. To be fair, the Ottomans were trying to take over his country, but Vlad was first and foremost a hater. Mehmed II sent envoys to Vlad at one point demanding tribute. Never one to overreact. Vlad had their turbans nailed to their skulls and their severed heads sent back to Mehmed. What followed was years of back and forth violence. At one point, Mehmed installed Vlad's brother Radu as ruler of Wallachia. Vlad was eventually assassinated and his head was allegedly sent to Mehmed as a gift. But there are so many conflicting stories and claims about what happened to Vlad's body after his death that we are never going to know for sure. We know generally when and where Vlad and his troops were ambushed, after which Vlad was never heard from again. Otherwise, we don't know exactly how he died or what happened to his remains. The lack of a body does lend itself really well to the vampire legend now that I think about it. Vladimir Dracula is an interesting person. Mehmed II is an interesting person. The clash between them is so fascinating. Again, I do not consider either of those two men to have been a good person. Complicated people, yes. Interesting people, definitely. Worth exploring much more in fiction, absolutely.